Yesterday we talked about value definition, what value is and how you can understand it in different perspective. Okay. We also discussed about the value assessment thing. Now you tell me, when would you require to assess the value? At which stage? At which stage of the project you would be required to assess the value of the project?
Beginning of the project or before starting of the project?
Yes, even before starting of the project, right? So it is even before the starting of the project. So when we discussed about the value assessment, it is a part of what? It is a part of business case analysis. It is not the part of, probably not the part of chartering also, because chartering is done after the assessment is already done and the approval has been received from the management, right? So value assessment is a activity which we do even before the project starts. Okay. And we talked about different types of methods to assess value. Which of the different ways was the most effective?
IRR.
IRR. Why?
You're considering inflation and as well as time.
Yes. So it was considering inflation and as well as time, and there was no guess estimates, right? So it is giving you the better means estimates about the project. Okay, that's perfect. Then we discussed about the benefits, understanding of benefits and cost. So when we talked about benefits, what was your understanding about benefits? What is benefit from a project? What is benefit from a project?
Value.
Yes. So in terms of in projects, how do you know how much is the benefit and how much is the cost?
Yeah. So if I invest X and for example 100 rupees,
okay,
so I'm getting 120 is in a benefit. So 20 rupees is my value, the benefit. Positively.
So benefit is 120 or benefit is 20 only?
Benefit is 20 because investment done 100 rupees.
So benefit is 20. It means that the benefit, your understanding of benefit is profit.
Yeah, profit.
Benefit is profit.
Correct.
Okay. What is return? Return from the project. How much is the return from the project? In this example, if you put 100 rupees in the project, let me give. If you put $100 in the project is the expense, and you get $120. So how much is the benefit and how much is the return? How much is the benefit and how much is the return? So you said benefit is $20. So how much is the return? See, these might be confusing. That is why I am discussing it. It may confuse you. Okay. So return is this. So return is the revenue. Okay. So the terms in PMI ACP may confuse you, especially these terms. So wherever I feel that there is some point of confusion, so I want you to be very clear about it, right? So it is benefit and revenue or return should be very clear in your mind. Return is equals to revenue is equals to say sales, okay, and benefit is the profit. Okay, this we discussed yesterday. What else we discussed yesterday? We discussed about different types of prioritization methods. Okay, prioritization methods we discussed. Why do we need prioritization at all? Why do we need prioritization at all?
To get early value from the project means.
Yes, yes, to get early value from the project. Okay. To get or to give
To give.
early value to customer. Okay.
Organize backlog or probably a plan for us next step.
Organize backlog. Okay. Okay.
All stakeholders on same page.
Okay.
So somewhere
Shared-
all are on the same page and one goal,
Shared vision.
shared vision.
Okay. Now these things are okay. How can you structure your thoughts so that you need not to remember it at all or commit to memory at all? How can you structure it? When we talk about value, where we started? We started from the value definition, right? I am talking about value prioritization. Value prioritization. Okay. So the core is value. When we started our discussion, we talked about value, what value is, right? Now, when we talked about value, we also talked about the user, value for whom, right? What happened? Okay, we talked about value for whom. So when we talk about value, we also talk about users. We related these two concepts. So when we say that we need to prioritize value, we want to say that, hey, we want to prioritize value in a way that it is easier to deliver value and it is easier or beneficial for the users to get the value. So both sides. So when you say the backlog prioritization, why do we need backlog prioritization? Is it just a means necessity, or is just a compliance issue that backlog prioritization is a must thing? You need to do it. That is why you are telling that, okay, backlog prioritization can be done using value prioritization methods. No. Why do we need backlog prioritization at all? Because somebody who is delivering the value should know what to deliver. For example, think about an event, a big event. The Prime Minister Modi is coming. Okay. Think about the event, and in that big event, the Prime Minister Modi is coming, right? The event management team, who is now doing the catering services, the team who is doing the catering services need to know which kind of things should be served first. The sequence should be known, right? Agree?
Yes.
If the sequence is not known, can the event managing team deliver the optimum value in that event to different users or different stakeholders? No, right? So value, we need prioritization for number one, backlog refinement, backlog prioritization, or what do you say, to improve the backlog or to make sure that backlog is best or in the best shape and most updated. All these are fine. Why do we do this at the first place? We do this because the people who will serve you the value, who will create the value, should know what to create first. Coming on to this is the supply side. Okay. Now the demand side. Demand side is the people who are getting the value. The people who are getting the value should not start fighting with each other. They should be also having the shared vision, which Indra said, that yes, my turn is number 5th, or my value would be delivered only the more important values are first delivered. After that, I will get the opportunity to, for my value or the things which I am looking for, right? So for that, we discussed that there are many type of prioritization methods. Okay. We also discussed that prioritization methods are simply quicker way to generate priority. Quicker way to generate priority. Remember, prioritization methods are simply innovative and quicker way to generate the priority or the sequence of items on the backlog. Okay. Why I am giving you so many alternative definitions or alternative scenarios to understand the same thing, the simple thing which is probably not used in IT software industry, because yes, it may not be used in IT software industry, but it may appear in PMI ACP, because PMI ACP is a industry agnostic examination. It is a industry agnostic examination. At least 10 or more questions you may see. I have seen about 10, roughly 10% of the question would be probably from the industry, which is the context would be not from IT industry. Clearly not from IT industry. You can clearly see in the statements, the question stem or the option choices, that it is from some other industry, maybe advertisement, maybe mass media communication, maybe manufacturing, anything. Okay. So alternative visualization of the same thing, the same concept is very important. It is one of the question type that we have discussed in session 1, right? Alternative visualization. So when we talk about prioritization on the demand side, we need to make sure that they don't fight with each other. Why? If they start fighting with each other, ultimately the entire project will get stalled. And as a supplier, your value would get diminished. You need to take care of your own value also, right? So then we discussed about, when we with these prioritization methods, we discussed about many different ways. And then we say that, hey, there are certain things that that are there, and I promised you that I will show you the prioritization chart, the MoSCoW prioritization chart that I have used in one of my projects. Okay. So just give me 1 minute and I will show you that. Okay, can you see it? Is it visible? Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we did, so what is this product? Spur is a product. It's a SaaS product which I and my team was developing to measure the employee experience in an organization. Okay. So can we measure employee experience? How are they feeling? All those things that we wanted to measure. We identified the values. What are the value that this particular product can give or can produce? So these are the value that we identified. Okay. This product would help in employee engagement. Employee engagement is the value for the corporation, for the HR, for the management. It will measure collaboration again for the management. It will enhance performance management for the management. It will enhance efficient L&D management. So these are all the things that a company would get value from this product. Okay. Then employee growth tracker. The employee would be benefited from this particular value. Employee behavior impact assessment. The company would get benefited from this. Aligning to core values. Company will get benefited from this. Marketplace for trainers. Company would get benefited. Okay. So all these things, we identified the core value from this product. Okay. Then this value can be delivered with using many features, and one of these is employee engagement. We can attain if we make this platform anonymous. This is a feature. Anonymity is a feature of this product. Okay. Configure categories and their questions, all those things are features of this product. So from value, we arrived at features. And then with value, we also identified value for whom. So value for HR, trainer, user. User means employee. Okay. Value for whom. And then we put a priority. Okay. So these are the priority level. So what is 4, 3, 2? These are all numbers like must have, could have, would have, right? All those things. So let me see the original one. Okay. So that is not here. This. Okay, so this is how we use MoSCoW model. What we did was, I asked the team members, the respective team members. There are 4 people, right? We are a team of 4 people. So I asked everybody, I gave this sheet and I asked everybody, think from the user's perspective and tell me whether it should be must have, should have, would have, or could have. Right? Think from the user's perspective. So first we need to know who is the user. Who is the user of that particular feature? From the user's perspective, what is your gut feel? Tell me that. I am not asking you from the perspective of your role. You are a designer and you may feel it difficult to produce it or whatever. No, I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to think from the perspective of the user and tell me whether it will be a must-have for the user, could have for the user, would have for the user, or means all this 4.
So one question I had.
Yeah.
So when you say user is an employee, right? In
Yes.
certain modules, HR is also user.
HR is also user, yes.
So in this case, you mentioned HR and one more, I think, L&D person also, right? If you can include the customer person.
So HR, user, trainer, this thing.
Correct. And the trainer also user, HR also user,
Yes.
also user, right? So
Yes. So
depending on the
user is employee, yes.
Depending, for example, you are making for administration functionality of the particular product.
Yes.
And probably that HR is where you can configure and get the reports and analyze it. So in this case, HR is a user.
Yes.
Not for the employee, right? So
yes, in that case, HR is a user, yes.
So in this case, if you look at the customer value, that employment engagement, so they all are employees as a user. And if any modules related to the administration or reporting and other stuff, that value to the particular component could be the user for the HR. So, but you mentioned customer person as a HR. So in my perspective, everybody is user, but based on the component, right? That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
In this case, customer person, all are users. Maybe we can say employee the user, employee user, HR user, trainer user kind of stuff. But
Yes, yes, yes. So
maybe commonality everybody.
yes, the idea was same. Whatever you are saying now. So it is user means the employee. So it is a employee. When employee is using that product as a employee, means for personal giving input or getting feedback. So that particular feature is used by the employee for personal thing. When that same employee is a HR manager and he is accessing the product in order to understand the overall means trend or to get the insight about the organization, right? So that user is HR user. Similarly, when a functional head is using this product, because functional head is also an employee, so he can have two personas. One persona as a functional head to understand the organizational trends, and second persona as a person, as an employee, to see how other people are feeling about his work behavior, right? So these two things are captured over there. Clear, no? I think you are also saying the same thing.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say, if you look at AC means what? SC, AC, HC.
AC is the name of the person.
Okay. Now, if you look at if you look at the one example, I'm trying to just drill down. Employee engagement, anonymous, frequent feed forward, and suggest to L&D. This is the objective of the particular module,
right?
And configure the frequency of survey.
Right.
So in this case, you mentioned customer or person as HR, right? So HR is the user in this case.
Yes.
So under priority AC, SC, HC, AT, these are 4 people are HRs.
No. These 4 people are the stakeholders of the product.
So naturally, in this case, if you put an HR as a user, for them is maybe must have it, but in an employment perspective, they don't care about it.
Yes, right? So that is what I wanted to understand, right? So I am the purpose of discussing this is to help you understand how this MoSCoW model can be used to prioritize features. This is the feature list. I have how many features over here? You see, I have, I think more than 50, 60, 53 features over here. Okay. So I have 53 features listed over here. Now, how do my team, this is my team of develop, this is the development team, including say product owner and the team. So this team, how do this team would be able to prioritize which one to do first? This is the use of prioritization scheme, right? Why do we need prioritization scheme at all? In order to identify which one to do first. I have 53 features to do. Which one to do first? This is the question. The answer is you can use MoSCoW model. Okay. Second drill down question. How can I use MoSCoW model? Can you demonstrate me? How can I use MoSCoW model? So I am giving you the example. This is how you can use a MoSCoW model to understand or to arrive at a priority list. One way of doing it. So you have the list, then the team is sitting together in a room and you are asking the team, each person individually, to prioritize based on the customer persona. Think from the shoes of the customer persona or the user, means this line, the column E, based on that person's view. Do you feel that that person would require this feature or may not require this feature or may not require this feature? Means what is your priority for that particular user? Means your gut feel. For example, hey Upendra, how do you feel? Means what should be the feeling of Narendra Modi in the next election meeting or in the upcoming elections? So is he more concerned? Is he less concerned? He is not at all concerned. So you can give a means a rough estimate about the feelings of other people, right? And you can do that by putting yourself in the personas of other. So in the shoes of the other. So when you are putting yourself in the shoes of, say, Modi, then whatever information you know about Modi, you need to use that information and tell us that, hey, I feel that in the next UP election, I have fair chances of winning it. Right. So this is what I have done. Again, this is beyond the scope of exam, but I'm just giving you a feel how it can be used. So I used it by I asked everybody to give a list, and then I converted it into numbers, and then I averaged it out. Then I averaged it out into this. Okay. And I say that these are the average numbers. So, and then I prioritize it in the descending order. So whatever is at 4, these are the number highest priority items. So these 4 things is a must-have thing for this particular product to achieve its vision. And what are these? These are like anonymity, okay, configuration of categories and questions, benchmarking, and wish list. These things should be the topmost priority to be developed first. If at all this product has to achieve its value proposition, whatever value or whatever vision of this product is. In order to achieve this vision, these are the topmost priority based on the analysis. Okay? Any questions based on your experience? Now let us go a level up and talk about your experience of working things. This is my experience I have shared. What is your experience? How it can be improved?
Just to add a point here, what exactly you mentioned, same thing we do, but we'll also categorize the user groups separately. As you mentioned here, user as an employee, that is one group. So if you filter user replace with employee, you get a 100 feature example.
Okay, so like this. Suppose
just for the trainer. Okay. Total how many features here?
So here 4 features, 5 features, yes.
Right. So you have a 5 trainer, you have a priority AC, SC, like that. There are 4 trainers.
Okay.
4 trainers will see which is the priority, their perspective.
Okay. So great. Very good point. So you are saying that you have the access to the user base. So you have the real users who will tell you the priorities. Means you have some, because of some way you have.
Yeah.
For example, you are developing Facebook and you have the database from the market survey, the primary level market survey of the people who would probably use it. Maybe students, maybe professionals, maybe, and you asking them to prioritize.
Right. If it's, for example, if you're building a product for internally for company, and we might have a L&D department, they might have their own standard trainers, or they might have a contract with some third-party trainer based on the need.
Right.
So these are my trainer customer persona. And I'm putting this particular objective. This is an objective. We want to develop this. So trainers also different experience, junior level, mid level, senior level, their own perspective. Then we'll try to figure it out. So the top, these are the trainer community. They are looking. These are the top priority features. If you're going to employee prioritize, maybe 100 feature employee, and we'll put some survey or maybe some kind of workshop. Right. So different user groups. We try to get some information, then prioritize it.
Great. So now again, this tells whatever you shared, what Upender shared, is giving us a very good understanding of how the approach differs from companies to companies, project to project, based on their own resource availability and the nature of the product. So Upendra has given us an example in which the company is developing a product for its own employees. So the company has the access to all the real users, real customer personas. Okay. If, for example, a startup is developing a product for mass market or for B2B customers, probably in that case, startups may not have access initially to the real customer personas. So they will have to imagine it, right? So that imagination thing I have used. So that is one method. Other method, if you have real access to real customer personas, you can go to the real customer personas and ask them to give the priority, right? Perfect. Great.
Yeah, just one more point for startup. I'll have some suggestions. So, when startup want to develop the product without understanding of the complete behavior of the user,
yes,
then the suggestion could be they need to talk to the 1 or 2 medium-sized companies, get
yes, exactly. Yes, yes.
done some kind of analysis, get some kind of rough estimate. Then otherwise that is also one way, and they can also try to reach only some conferences, all trainers meet kind of stuff. Okay, example. Then they can sponsor or maybe get some kind of information, 10 questions, 5 questions, so they can see the pulse of how the things are going on.
Yes.
That's why one way, and maybe have even friendly customer and try to experiment with them without charging. So they could also to start with a story with a high level prototype, not to build a whole component, but just prototype.
Right.
Then give the free of cost for the trial version, maybe 6 months. Then real things will come back later. Rather than building the straightforward, right? So
great. Yes. Great insights. I hope this is a good discussion. And anything, Anita and Mitesh, you would like to add?
In my case, we are dealing with the government customers, and they have their consultant. Okay. And when we are going for the requirement gathering and this to understand their requirements, I mean that time it's all come to us, because they are saying we are not the expert and you need to do it. So we do our internal workshops, and based on that we understand the features and requirement, and we only do the this thing, but we are not playing the games and this thing, but this is only based on expert judgment and other thing.
Yes. So that is the difference. So that is the only difference when you come to traditional versus agile. In agile, people are more collaborative. In collaborative in a sense means it is a norm for them to come for a prioritization meeting. In traditional, prioritization meetings may not happen, but the essence is the same. The boss would tell somebody, some of his subordinate or a few of them, that hey, prioritize this based on the meeting which we had yesterday. Prioritize this, and then somebody else would go. That will be submitted to the boss or the manager. The manager would review it, and then it will be approved. Right? So this is the difference. But the thing is necessary. That activity is necessary, and activity is done in different ways. That level of appreciation we should have. And okay, yes, ठीक है. वहाँ भी वही करते हैं, यहाँ भी यही करते हैं. Because this is a mandatory thing. This is a natural thing to do. But in agile projects, people have evolved and they have become more collaborative. They are finding it natural, and their second nature that okay, we have to go for this kind of meeting. This is a mindset kind of thing. Okay. Now let's go a next step. So the next step is that we have the vision. Okay. After the vision, we have the features. With the features, we have the customer personas. And then these features are divided into customer stories, right? And candidate stories. And that candidate stories are further divided into user stories. further decomposed into user stories. And user stories has a format. So this is example of how we converted those into user stories. Okay. So as an employee, I would like to secure my identity in all my feeds so that I save myself from backlash. So it's a user story, anonymity. So related to anonymity, how can you make sure that in this kind of a product, you prevent the backlashes, you prevent the unintended reaction or unintentional response from somebody. If you are appreciating somebody may feel it like buttering. If you don't appreciate, if you tell the truth which is not very friendly in nature, people may feel that it is racist. How to avoid that kind of unintended response? So it is one kind of a user story that as an employee, I want to safeguard myself. Can you safeguard myself? It is a user story, and this is how we listed out the entire thing. Who created these user stories? The team needs to write this user story. Why the team needs to write this user story? Not the customer, not the product owner, not the scrum master. The team needs to write this story. Why?
Because it is more of a technical. So whatever the business requirement he or she has received from the product owner, right? The person has to relate it, and then probably he has to make it in a way that could be technically translated, because the team will work on the technical part of it. So could be that.
Okay, no. I would not agree with you. Upinder?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
Why do we need the development team to write the user story? Or the basic is that who will write the user story? It is the team. The team should write the user story in collaboration with any of the stakeholders. So the writing should be done. I, as an employee, this statement should be written by the team only. Why?
For example, I'm a developer. Okay, so there is a requirement to create a user ID and password of the particular web portal. Okay, the requirement could be customer able to log in. That's all, one single word. But if a developer point of view, write a user case, it should, like what you mentioned, to translate the technical perspective and also look at the multiple ways of logging the password and alternatives, and what condition, if conditions, and what is the successful criteria. So it's much more detailed perspective. So when you develop the component, give back to the customer, and he can log in, and he can also try to do different way, but it should be successful login. Example. So basically ensuring that I'm understanding the customer requirement properly. And second thing is I'm also going a little bit detailed in the different scenarios. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. So I'm just understanding the requirement and validating the requirement, and also I'm developing the detailed user story.
Okay.
But also get it up to.
Great. So okay. So I would say that it is more towards the means that the intended thing that I wanted to hear. So the thing is that try to understand the entire sequence. The sequence is that what we started with. What we started with vision. Then we identified the features. Then we identified the candidate stories. Then we converted it into user stories. Then we converted it into tasks. Tell me one thing, user story is a technical document or technical requirement or not?
User story is more in a business requirement, not to do technical.
Okay. So which one is technical? The task?
Yes, task is more technical. User story is just the functionality of the particular component,
Right.
what to be done, what not to be done.
Great.
And yeah.
So that is why I told you, Anita, that I may not agree with you, because user story, first of all, is not technical. User story is a business requirement. It is a business requirement. It is written in a way that is easier for everybody, all the stakeholders to understand, not only the team. User story is not the thing on which the activity will be based. The actual day-to-day activities are not based on user stories. The day-to-day activity of the team is not planned based on user stories. The day-to-day activities are planned based on tasks. And this is called the last responsible moment planning. The conversion of user stories into task is what we do in iteration planning or sprint planning. We convert the user stories into tasks, and then we delegate the task to different team members, and we track whether they are doing it as per plan or not. So the first thing is that user stories are written by the team because team needs to understand the requirement. When the team writes it, and it is relatable, it is understandable by any of the stakeholders, then everybody can ensure that all the stakeholders from the customer side and from the supplier side are on the same page. So if I relate this to the visions, to the values and principles, user stories must be written by the team in order to create a shared vision about the project or the product. So that is why team needs to write it. Okay. Now the team needs to write it in a business functionality manner, not in a technical, not in a technical language, in a business language. Okay. Now business language cannot be sufficient to work on day-to-day basis, because work is done technically. So for that we have tasks. User stories decomposed into tasks, and tasks are purely technical, high level of technicalities, because task no other people, no other member except the core development team would go and see the tasks or the task card, right? So this is what is thing. So user story has a format. It is written from the business perspective. It is written by the team, okay, in the business language, and it is then further decomposed into the user story. This is what we discussed in the first class, okay, and we will discuss in much more detail in the later classes also. Okay, so now let's switch gears and go back to our discussion of the value thing. Okay, any questions on this? I hope it's clear.
To emphasize it, what we discussed now.
Yes.
Maybe that feature have a multiple user stories, and each user story has a multiple tasks.
Yes.
If 4 tasks I completed, which means that one successfully completed one user story.
Yes.
And if I completed 2-3 user stories, is a part of one feature we completed.
Yes.
Is it correct?
Yes.
And in sprint planning, we are considering user story, not tasks, right?
Yes. Yes. We are converting the user stories into tasks. This is called last responsible moment planning. In sprint planning is a typical example of last responsible moment planning, when we are very sure that these are the user stories which we need to do in the iteration, Then we will break down those user stories into tasks, and we delegate those tasks to different people. We plan these tasks, sometimes estimate the task again to recheck whether it is the total of those estimates of the task is equal to the estimates of the user stories or not.
Okay.
All these things we do in the iteration planning or sprint planning.
Okay.
Okay.
And what about story points? I mean,
story points are the unit of measurement of user stories.
Okay.
Tasks are not measured in story points. Tasks are measured in absolute term. Absolute estimate and relative estimate we discussed, right?
Yeah.
So, absolute estimates are estimates in terms of days, times, minute. All these are absolute estimate. Means, okay, when you say that it will take 2 hours, means it may take 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, maybe 1 hour, but you cannot say it will take 10 days. When you are estimating something to be 2 hours, it cannot take 10 days. Okay. Right? But when you are saying that it will, the estimate of this is 2 story points. What is that story points? It's a relative estimate. Story points is a relative estimate. Then you will say, what is the reference point? Then you will say the reference point is the other story. It's a relative estimation, relative sizing. So when I say Mitesh is tall, okay, taller than whom? I say Mitesh is taller than Upendra. Okay, then how much tall Upendra is? Upendra is shorter than Anita. Okay, but how much tall, what's the height of Anita? Anita is taller than Shriwant. It's all relative. At the end of try to see the beauty of it. Why are we not concerned about the absolute estimate? Because we do not need it. May feel crazy to you, but it is the fact of it is a matter of the fact. We do not need anything of that absolute sort. When we have 20 story or 50 story points to do, and we can say on a relative term which one is more priority and which one has less priority, which one is bigger and which one is smaller. That's it. That is sufficient for us. No?
Yes.
Right. Think about an event you are managing in your house. Okay. So some marriage function is going to happen, and in marriage there are many work. Okay. And you can estimate that, oh, these 5 works are there and this will take more time than the other one.
Okay.
Right. So task 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So suppose we have task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4. You will say, hey, this one is the highest, it will take highest. I don't know how much, but when it is getting done, then I can use this, I can do this, and it will, if it is taking suppose X units of time, it will take 2x unit of time. It will take X by 2 unit of time, and it will take 3x unit of time, suppose. Is it not sufficient for you to understand and start working? It is telling me everything. It is telling me everything. This is the priority number 1, this is priority number 2, this is priority number 3, and this is priority number 4. Suppose when I am done with task number 1, the most priority number 1, the highest priority task, and the second highest priority task, am I not relieved that the next task is easier?
Yes.
And when I am at task number 3, am I not concerned that, oh, my highest task is still pending? I am just halfway through. Even if I have completed 3 tasks, I am still about halfway through only. I am only completed 50% of the work. We can say this. with this. This is called relative estimation. This is what is used in agile projects.
Okay.
Okay. But when we go to the task level, एक step नीचे चले जाओ. When we go to the task levels, okay, these are the user stories. So let us make it U1, U2, U3, U4. Okay. When we go from U4 to say T4, T1 and T2. Now I know who is going to do it. What is his caliber? How much is the work, tentative work? And therefore, how much is the time expected to do the task? So I will say, hey, Shriwant, you will do this in 1 hour or one day, whatever. Okay. And now we have the exact absolute estimate. Okay. Now say this is Shriwant, and it will take 3 hours. This is say Anita, and this will take 5 hours.
Okay.
Okay.
Clear.
When anything you'd like to add on this?
Yeah, I think correct.
Okay. So this is the understanding that you need to have. So very good discussion today. So I hope it will give you much more clarity. Okay. So let's move ahead. So we have discussed about many things. Now we are moving ahead. These things are good. ठीक है. Graphs एक बार ध्यान दे देना. You may see some graphs. Okay. Talked about all these things. Canon analysis. When can you use Canon analysis?
Satisfied, dissatisfied, or aligned.
Yes. When? I'm not asking about what it is. I'm asking when to use it.
I think if you get a requirements or clarity.
If you can get?
Requirements are having much more clarity.
Okay, ठीक है. Let me give you the exact question. What is the best time to use Canon analysis? Okay, the question is, what is the best time to use Canon analysis? Option number 1, retrospective. Option number 2, release planning. Option number 3, sprint planning. Option number 4, reviews. Okay. When to use Canon analysis?
I think sprint planning. So you can identify what are the satisfactory functionality in sprint 1, some of them in sprint 2, some of them deleted into sprint 1, another 2 into sprint 2. You can, so instead of giving all are into one go, one sprint, you can distribute into the multiple sprints.
Any other idea?
I think release planning.
Okay.
Because I mean.
Because what?
During the release planning, we may get idea about the satisfactory factors and dissatisfactory factor from the customer.
Okay. Any other option?
No.
Anita?
No, probably I'll do a wild guess.
ये क्या है यार?
None of the above.
That is not there in the option.
Okay. Arey Baba, you try to understand this. So don't try to commit to memory. What is Canon? What is the purpose of Canon analysis? What is Canon analysis? Ek step or here. What is Canon analysis? It gives you it tells you about features. It's a map about features, right? High level understanding of the features, and you say that hey, these 5 features, feature number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are delighters. Okay, then these features are say satisfier. These features are dissatisfier. Okay, and in these features people are indifferent, right? How can you use this information? This much you know, itna to pata hai na, this much you know definitely about Canon analysis.
Yeah.
Right, now go a step, try to relate it. How can you use it? What is the benefit of this?
Product backlog prioritization we can do by this.
Example, suppose you need to all of us are married, so Upendra, you are married, right? Definitely, right?
Of course, my kid is 9th standard.
Yeah, so this is not a correct but okay, let's take go at least 20 years back in your respective lives, okay, and think that you need to propose to somebody. Okay, you need to propose to somebody, X or Y. Now when you need to propose to somebody and you know what is the delighter, what is satisfier, what is dissatisfier, and what is indifferent, you know the things about that person, how can you use it? You will try to do what? You will try to maximize the delighter functions, right? In each meeting before the eventual proposal, you will try to maximize the delighters. Means you will act in a way that delights that person. But unfortunately, it's life, so you cannot completely eliminate these things: satisfier, dissatisfier, indifferent. You cannot eliminate. So because it's you and your life, so you will try to cover those things with the delighter. So if you are serving something and you don't have a very good piece of cutlery, then what you will do? You will try to paint it, you will try to cover it, you will try to do something, right? Think about those caterers.
Yeah.
Caterers typically don't have good quality tables to serve their food, right? So what they do? They cover the table with very good quality tablecloth, right?
Yeah, in the life is different and customer perspective different, right? For example, when girl or boy meeting, both they start with the delighters. In the marriage time, satisfied. After kid, dissatisfaction. Then again, indifferent.
So, yes, true. But my point is that, see, this is helping you when you know all those things about the customer. It is helping you to plan your servings. It is helping you in life. You cannot do that, but before that is why I took the example of before proposal, not after marriage, because after marriage you cannot control anything. So before the proposal, you can plan your meetings, right? You can act in a certain manner. So that is what is happening with the customers. When you know these things about the customer, then you can suitably plan it. You can plan the releases. You can pick and choose the features and put a delighter feature in all of the releases, so that in every release customer bole, wow, maja aa gaya, right? You will not put all the delighters in the first release, because if you do that, so this we will talk about in just after this discussion about contracts. How typically agile contracts work is, these contracts works, yesterday also Upen gave us very good example, that these contracts work in a manner in which payments are done after every iteration, after every successful iteration. If the iteration is accepted, then the payment will come. If the iteration is not accepted, no payment. Everything is interrelated. Connect karna padega. So now the thing is, why do we need Canon analysis? So that you can plan your releases in a way that after every release, the customer is delighted. Customer has something to talk about. And it is second nature to any. I was a business head, and my boss, and when we are reporting to the board, my boss was always telling me, hey, bhai, whatever is the case, in every month in the board meeting, you need to give me a delighter function. Delighter function means, for us, delighter was a new product development. You have to tell me a new product development, that you have created this new product and this product has this much of business potential. And in suppose in some month I'm giving 2 or 3, then he will say, don't put it in this month. You will use, let's use it in the next month. It's called reprioritization. So Canon analysis helps the team, the product owner especially, to plan the releases so that the customer remains happy and delighted throughout the entire project. So the best answer was release planning. Clear, eh?
Okay.
Okay.
Can you tell me what is the release planning? So sprint
Release
plan.
plan. Yes.
Sprint planning is 4 weeks or 6 weeks. So these are the feature I want to, direct feature I want to add it. These are the success feature, 2 feature I want to add it as part of the planning. So then I can start developing those functionalities, then keep it ready, then I can give a show and demo. That's what I'm thinking in planning.
Okay, what is release planning? Let's discuss that. So release planning, what it happens is, it all starts with vision. After that, it goes to features. Okay, you might be doing feature workshop, right? After that, in the feature workshop, the end result is the candidate stories.
Candidate story is nothing but a user story, or is a different thing?
Candidate story is the raw form of user story.
Okay, pre-user story.
It's a raw form of user story. The user story is not yet formed in a specific format. That is called
high-level objectives or requirements.
Yes. Then, with that this candidate story is converted to user stories. This gives us the backlog. This backlog is used to create story map. And this story map is used to create the roadmap. What is the product roadmap? Product roadmap has release 1, release 2, release 3. Okay. Then we have the release planning. What is release plan? Release plan has the discussion on iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3, iteration 4. How many iterations will be there? Okay. Then we come to iteration plan. What is the iteration plan? In iteration plan, we do task 1, task 2, task 3, like this. And then this is the last responsible moment work. Start working. Okay, so we will discuss this in adaptive planning, the module number 5. Okay, the domain number 5. So अभी के लिए skip. This is a high level understanding. So release planning may we will be able to segregate or prioritize which delighters we will put. So suppose we have 5 delighters overall in the product backlog. So those 5 delighters I will put in, suppose, and I have 3 releases. So I will put 2 delighters here, 2 delighters here, and 1 delighter here, suppose. Or 2, 1, 2, whatever. So it will again, see, product owner has some need some work, right? Product owner has to delight the customer at the end of the project. So
Okay.
how he will, right? So
yeah, this release plan will done by product owner or Scrum Master?
Product owner. Everything is product owner in collaboration with the team.
Okay, so basically the Q1, Q2, Q3, which I'm
Yes.
going to release it, and
Yes.
I'm working the reverse way of the execution, where it will come sprint planning. First, I have to give the release like a serials. You have a 1 year serial, so you have to distribute into a number of quarters.
Yes, yes, maybe yes. If you have quarterly releases, then yes, four quarter you need to divide the entire work. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. ठीक है ना? Canon analysis clear है? This is relative prioritization. I already discussed. Okay. Then this one. This we discussed yesterday. How do we deliver value? Value deliver कैसे होता है? By prioritizing the feature highest, by reducing the risk through incremental delivery, and by minimizing the wastes. Okay. Why do we need to deliver quickly? Because it helps to save on cost. Okay. How? And one example is XP in terms of software development.